Hey guys, I'm on my way to Columbus today, and Big Daddy and I thought we would bring you along and tell you a story or two. Join us, you may learn something. This is the childhood home of Joshua Medor. Big Daddy and I hope we've got the pronunciation of that last name correct, but we're just not sure. Joshua Medor was born in Greenwood, Mississippi in 1911, and he moved to Columbus when he was 7 and lived in this home. Joshua was an animator, a special effects artist, and the animation director for Walt Disney Studios. I think he prided himself or described himself as first and foremost a painter. He painted more than 2,000 canvases of impressionistic landscape and seascape paintings. I'm just going to list for you a few of the movies he worked on with Disney so that you can know you've already been exposed to his work. His movies were Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi, Donald's Crime, Melody Time, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Perry, White Wilderness, and Sleeping Beauty. There are other movies that he worked on with Disney, but there are just too many to mention here. As I said earlier, the work he seemed to be most proud of was that of his landscape painting. Jackson's Military Road was a 19th century route connecting Nashville, Tennessee with New Orleans, Louisiana. After the War of 1812, Congress appropriated funds in 1816 to build and improve this road. It was completed in 1820. The road was named for General Andrew Jackson, hero of the Battle of New Orleans. Walter Lanier Barber, a famed baseball broadcaster, was born in Columbus in 1908. He would have been best known by his nickname of Red. He studied English education at the University of Florida in the 1920s. It was while he was at the University of Florida that he found his calling to be a radio broadcaster. Barber's career in broadcasting lasted 38 years. He worked with several major sports organizations, including the Cincinnati Reds, the New York Yankees, and the Brooklyn Dodgers. While he was with Brooklyn, he had a major part in shaping the world's reaction to Jackie Robinson's breaking the color barrier in the major leagues. Barber contributed to a book about Jackie Robinson entitled The Jackie Robinson Reader: Perspectives on an American Hero. Barber received numerous honors and awards during his career. These included the Ford C. Frick Award for Broadcasting Excellence, induction into Baseball Hall of Fame, the Distinguished Alumni Award from the University of Florida, and the Gold Award by the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and induction into Florida Sports Hall of Fame. Red not only enjoyed a career as a sports broadcaster, he also authored books. The first book he wrote was called When All Hell Broke Loose in Baseball. He followed this up by writing The Broadcasters, Rhubarb in the Catbird Seat, and finally, Show Me the Way to Go Home. Red retired from broadcasting in 1972 and died in 1992. We move from baseball to Gettysburg. William Barksdale was born in Smyrna, Tennessee on August 21st, 1821. After graduating from the University of Tennessee, he studied in Columbus and started practicing law at the age of 21. He quickly became a vocal pro-slavery advocate as the editor of the Columbus Democrat and a states' rights Democrat, and a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. William Barksdale allegedly stood beside Representative Preston Brooks as he violently attacked anti-slavery Senator Charles Sumner with a cane on the floor of the Senate on May 22, 1856. This is the site of Barksdale's Columbus plantation. Even though he was a planter, a politician, and a lawyer, perhaps he is most famously remembered for his exploits at Gettysburg. Around 5:30 on July the 2nd, 1863, while at Gettysburg, Barksdale and his Mississippians smashed into the Union Third Corps at the Peach Orchard. His men hit the Union defenses and even captured a Union general. Barksdale was wounded first in the knee, then in his left foot, and finally in his chest. He was taken prisoner and taken to a local farmhouse where he died from his wounds the next day. Baldwin Locomotive Works produced diesel-electric locomotives like the one you're about to see between 1946 and 1952. The Columbus and Greenville Railway bought 5 of these locomotives in 1946 and 47. Pictured here, of course, is number 601. Built in 1946, it was the first road switcher of its type in the United States, and it was the Columbus and Greenville Railway's first diesel-powered locomotive. It was retired in 1984 after 38 years of service. Baldwin Locomotives 601 serviced both freight and passenger trains. The largest arsenal during the Civil War in the state of Mississippi was the Confederate Briarfield Arsenal in Columbus. The building that made up the arsenal was described as being a brick building some 300 feet long with 2 wings forming 3 sides of a square. The site employed some 1,000 workers, and in April 1862, after the Battle of Shiloh, roughly 5,000 damaged muskets were sent to the arsenal for repair. Confederate General Braxton Bragg declared, "The arsenal contained machinery and stores we cannot replace, so that its loss would be great and irreparable." The arsenal remained in operation until Wilson's cavalry on April 6, 1865, destroyed it. The Union Army captured the Columbus Arsenal and used the buildings for storage. Arson was suspected in December 1865, and the fire destroyed about 4,000 bales of cotton. Another Columbus, Mississippi story worth mentioning is that of Thomas Lanier Williams. He would be better known, perhaps, as Tennessee Williams. He was born on March 26, 1911, and he would be considered one of the foremost playwrights of 20th century American drama. Tennessee Williams' works include The Glass Menagerie in 1944, A Streetcar Named Desire in 1947, Cat on a Hot Tin Roof in 1955, The Sweet Bird of Youth in 1959, The Night of the Iguana in 1961. You've been looking at the first home of Tennessee Williams, which serves Columbus now as a welcome center. The home also houses a museum and a gift shop. This home also served as the rectory of St. Paul's Episcopal Church, where Tennessee Williams' grandfather, the Reverend Walter Dakin, served. Starting around 1902, the Queen City Hotel was the center of a vibrant African American community along 7th Avenue North in Columbus. There were clubs and cafes in the area. Of course, they featured jazz, blues, rhythm and blues, and the hotel would have housed all the musical celebrities. The celebrities included the likes of B.B. King, Duke Ellington, James Brown, and several African American athletes. Many nationally prominent musicians played the clubs in the area, clubs like the Savoy, the Blue Room, or the Queen City's own Ballroom. Some of these musicians were Bobby Blue Bland, Little Richard, Little Willie John, Earl Hines, Louis Armstrong, Fletcher Henderson, Pearl Bailey even. The Queen City Hotel was not only the center for entertainment in the African American community in Columbus, but it was the center for the business district as well. It was constructed by a former enslaved person named Robert Walker in the vacant lot you see before you. This is a drawing of the Queen City Hotel as it would have appeared during Robert Walker's time. He died in 1931. After he died, a guy named Ed Bush, who worked as a porter along with other jobs downtown, was hired as the manager of the Queen City. Mr. Bush began enlarging and renovating the hotel. He bricked the exterior, he enclosed the front porch, and he added a beauty shop in the rear. The renovations were completed in 1948, and the hotel then became known as the New Queen City Hotel. The hotel flourished and thrived under Mr. Bush's management. From the 1930s to the 1960s, the Queen City Hotel hosted some of the most famous people in America. People who, in spite of their fame, were denied accommodations in other places because they were African American. They would have known that they could stay at the New Queen City Hotel because it was listed in this following book. The Green Book was first published in 1936. It was the creation of Harlem postal carrier Victor Hugo Green. Like most African Americans, he had become weary of the discrimination he faced when he ventured outside of his own neighborhood. The Green Book listed service stations, hotels, guest houses, taverns, drugstores, restaurants, barbershops, any places that were known to be safe for African American travelers. The motto on the guide's cover also doubled as a warning: carry your Green Book with you. You may need it. Thank you for visiting Columbus, Mississippi with us today and exploring some of her many stories. We'd like to encourage you to visit for yourself sometimes.